Ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation for our two teams, South Africa and Spain.
Well, good afternoon to all our viewers, wherever you might be, right around the world. My name's Amy Bainbridge, and this is the North Greenwich Arena, where we have a basketball match in the men's draw this afternoon for wheelchair basketball. It is Spain, and they are playing against South Africa. Now we're just a few minutes away from tip-off. I can tell you South Africa has appeared at the past two of the last three editions of the Paralympic Games. They finished 12th in Sydney in 2000. Then the team returned to the Paralympics 4 years ago in Beijing, where they finished 9th after winning against Sweden and China. They qualified for London 2012 after winning the African Championships in Morocco. So Spain have already recorded an opening victory over Italy in this tournament. But they did defeat South Africa in a warm-up friendly earlier this month. So on paper at least, it looks as though Spain may be the stronger team, but we'll just have to wait and see how this all unfolds. Very healthy crowd here at North Greenwich. Of course, the women's Great Britain side were just beaten just half an hour ago by Australia in the women's preliminary Group A draw. So we're just heading through the preliminary rounds, and if you're not across what's happening, there's 12 teams in the men's draw, 10 teams in the women's draw, and they're split into two pools. So the women, there's 5 in each pool, and the men, there's 6 in each. But with both the men's and the women's competitions, the top 4 go into the quarterfinals playoffs, and then it's pretty much a sudden death playoff, so you'll be out of the tournament. However, you still do get to play off for the final rankings, so you know, you might have 5th versus 6th and 7th versus 8th. So South Africa's number 15, Richard Nortje, tipping off against Alejandro ZARZUELA BELTRAN. South Africa with the first possession. So Spain gets the defensive rebound. Papazo Diego dribbling down the centre of the court. Not many options ahead. He might decide to take it himself. No, he's pulled up. He's pulled out, looking for a teammate. A few cuts on, but nothing really going. ZARZUELA BELTRAN passes to De Paz Pazo, who misses his shot. The defensive board taken by the South Africans. Gumby with the ball. Dribbles down the right-hand side, trying to look for a place to enter the key. He passed it to Marius Papenfuss, but was unsuccessful. So the turnover goes to Spain, and they'll see what they can make out of this end of offence. Nifty little pass there. The score is to number 9, ZARZUELA BELTRAN. Alejandro ZARZUELA BELTRAN for Spain gets the first 2 points of this match. So no great surprises with wheelchair basketball, in case you're wondering how it all works. The rules are pretty much exactly the same as the able-bodied version of the sport. You must dribble every 2 rolls of the chair. That was a travel. So De Paz. Nifty little play there. That was a score by ZARZUELA BELTRAN. So Spain getting off to a good start here against the South Africans, and South Africans still yet to put a score on the board. There's Garcia Moreno on your screen there. So South Africa with possession. Let's see if they can get a score on the board here. Good penetration straight through the top of the key, but no joy there for Gumby. Spain. They're looking very, very sharp on the offensive. Some easy little flick passes in the key and no huge problems there. The South Africans are going to have to step up their defence considerably if they are wanting to shut down some of that scoring. So Spain, a 6-0 lead at this point. Shot from Gumby is unsuccessful. Spain good on the boards. They're getting the bulk of the rebounds at the moment, but a nice little interception and steal from South Africa up the other end. It was perhaps a little bit of a too ambitious pass right up the court there to the key at the other end. Papenfuss has a shot, 2 points. So South Africa gets their first score on the board. 6 plays 2. Gee, I tell you what, Spain just make it look a little bit too easy at this point. So, as I said, South Africa are really going to need to think about their defensive pressure. Straight out of bounds, so it will be South Africa's ball from the end. So baseline throw in, and Gumby as the point guard. It's already featuring prominently, and we're only a couple of minutes into the first quarter. Tried a little lob over, but it was easily intercepted, and Spain's got a fast break here. Can they capitalise? They can indeed. De Paz Pazo. Diego De Paz Pazo. Made it look very effortless. Nice fluid underarm motion for that easy score right under the basket. So nice one. We've had a timeout already. Some Spanish supporters there in the audience. So Spain's coach is Oscar Trigo Diez. Patrick Fick addressing his troops there. So 10 plays 2. Spain with the early advantage in this preliminary round match, a Group A preliminary match. So, Pazo was throwing the screen. Here's Gumby, the point guard. He's already had a few attempts at scoring. Can he get there this time? He can. Lovely. 2 points. So 4 plays 10. Spain is up. 5 minutes down in the first quarter. So all the finals we played here at this venue, North Greenwich. There is a smaller basketball arena that's also being utilised for these preliminary round matches. Well, South Africa's tightening up their defence considerably there and forcing the shot from outside. So Garcia Moreno, though, still coming away with the 2 points from that. But promising to see that now they're not allowing these easy passes into the paint. They're at least forcing the lower percentage shot from outside the key. Gumby passes in. Govender. Got the hand. Gumby got a hand to the ball, but knocked it out of bounds. It wasn't successful in a steal. So Spain on the offensive again. No threat out here, well outside the three-point line, but a nice little lob in. Gee, that was too easy. So Zazula Beltran rather. Was right under the basket for that high percentage shot. He just was in a beautiful position and the pass was executed perfectly. Difficult shot from up the top of the key, and especially with a defensive player. The foul's been called. I suspect it was on number 15, Richard Nortje. A little frustrated. He missed his shot and then lost the ball and went in for a decent whack. It's always a bit of a risk when that frustration sets in. You feel you should have had a free shot or you should have drawn a foul. He's been subbed off. He'll have a little rest. So Garcia Moreno, first of 2 free throws. So that was called an intentional foul in the end, which is interesting. So Spain will also have the possession as well from the half-court line. Still a very nice day in London today. Beautiful blue skies and the sun's actually out. It's just out at lunchtime and it had a little bit more power in it than it had this morning. This morning it was just 8 degrees even though the sun was shining. It was quite chilly at around 7 o'clock this morning. Certainly hasn't kept the crowds away. Everyone's very, very happy to be here. Thousands of people pouring through the gates at the Olympic Park, which is where this basketball stadium is. So the great thing about the setup for the London Olympics is the fact that so many venues have been grouped together in the one area. It's relatively quick to get between venues as well. So, for example, in Beijing, the basketball venue was right out in the west of the city. It was a fantastic venue. But here in London, the basketball venue is right where the main stadium is. It's just a short distance away. You can catch a bus, get some transport, walk. probably only a 20-minute walk, 20 to 30-minute walk from the main stadium. So it makes for a really great day out here in London. Also in Beijing, the football was played at Gonti in the east of the city, and the beach volleyball was played in the east as well. Oh, lovely little pass in there to number 10, Marius Papenfus. Scores 2 points for the South Africans. So the football, yeah, that was played at a different venue as well in Beijing, but here there is a football stadium, a water polo stadium. Oh, lovely. That was a strong drive in. So number 13, Moreno Gomez, drove in, was interfered with. He's got the 2 points. He'll have another shot. Can he finish it off? Well, that's nice, and it means that Spain is in a very commanding position, even though it's very early stages here at North Greenwich Arena. So also the cycling velodrome and the BMX track, they're all right here at the Olympic Park as well as the aquatic centre, of course. So they have done a very, very nice job at Stratford of putting all the venues together and making for what is really a beautiful Olympic Park. There's some fantastic outdoor areas, there's stages, big screens. If you can't make it into the venue for whatever reason, you can sit out in the grass and enjoy it. And a lot of people are doing that today because the weather is fine. It's very nice. Day 2 of competition. Of course, the crowds have been extremely enthusiastic for Team GB, but they've also been extremely generous in their praise for athletes and teams from other countries as well, which is fantastic to see. Been called 3 seconds in there, so get out of the key before the 3 seconds are up, otherwise you'll cause a turnover. So Spain with the ball. Moreno Gomez is the point guard for Spain. Passes to the right, then back to the centre. The ball's in the centre, and geez, it looked as though Paz-Pazo was going to have a shot there. He was a bit indecisive and then tried to pass off to his left, and in the end the execution was poor. And it's a turnover. It was knocked out of court. So Gumby takes the ball for South Africa. He passes it back to Papenfuss. He lobs it over, but it was a bit of a messy old lob there. Looked like there wasn't too much thought put into it because it went straight to Spain. Oh, that was a lovely move by Paz-Pazo, but couldn't quite find the net, unfortunately. So back to South Africa. So we're seeing a few turnovers here, but Spain does have a decent lead already. 19 plays 7 in this match. It is still the first quarter. 2 minutes left to run. And Retief for South Africa scores 2 points. It's a lovely shot. Had all the space and time in the world, it appeared, and he certainly used it, and it looked very nice indeed. But Spain back with the ball, and Moreno Gomez has a decision to make whether to shoot or lob it in. He lobbed it in, but ZARZUELA BELTRAN had a shot and was fouled, so he'll go to the line now for two free throws. So to Paz-Pazo, 6 points already. ZARZUELA BELTRAN has 6 as well. Neither of his 2 shots fell that time. However, let's see what South Africa are capable of. They're trying to add some pace getting up the court. Don't give Spain too much time to set their defence. JELLOWS with the ball. can't get into the key. He's forced to back right out and then try and find another avenue. He puts a shot up. It was a bit of a rush in the end because the shot clock was about to go and unfortunately resulted in an air ball. So Spain again on the offensive. So again, Spain just able to cut to the basket. The defence from South Africa is just a little loose at this point to really be challenging Spain, and they're just finding too many easy paths to the basket. Nice little lob over though, and unfortunately Mbandi unable to, so it's 2 attempts but unable to score. But still, South Africa managed to retain the ball there. Pretty good on their rebounding at this point, and Mbandi finally, third time lucky, scores 2 points. It was a nice looking shot too, swooshed straight through the basket. So Spain back on the offensive. They've got just over 20 seconds left to play. They want a quick score here. Lovely. ZARZUELA BELTRAN scores 2 points for Spain. And let's see if South Africa can squeeze a quick basket in before the quarter time break. They're going to have to drop a long bomb, it looks like. 5 seconds to go. No, they're a bit slow stopping the clock there. 3.8 left on the clock, so really just time for a pass and to put it up. Of course, the clock doesn't start until the ball is in play in the hands of a player on court. JELLOWS misses his first attempt. And his second as well. Quick lob down the court, but it's not going to be effective. So 21-11. Spain is up and looking reasonably comfortable if we look at the way the two teams are playing at the moment. It's just that Spain is able to find the ring just so much more easily than South Africa. They flow, they're cutting through the key. It's all working extremely well for Spain at this point. And I don't think we'll see a huge discrepancy in the rebounds. Let's have a look. So, in fact, South Africa is taking more offensive rebounds, 3-0. They've taken 6 defensive rebounds, whereas Spain's taken 8. Now, Spain's shooting percentage is 69%. South Africa, 33%. So, not too bad for South Africa. Obviously, Spain just far more accurate at this point. South Africa's actually had more attempts at field goals. They've had 15 attempts compared to Spain's 13, but Spain's hit 9 of theirs, and South Africa's hit just 5 of theirs. So, there's a bit of a difference there. No one's having a huge lot of joy at the free throw line at the moment. And no one's hit any three-pointers either. So, a few turnovers. South Africa 6, Spain 4. South Africa needs to keep an eye on that. They don't want to be turning the ball over too often. It's just far too costly. But I think the difference between South Africa and Spain's field goal percentage at the moment is that Spain's just managing to take their opportunities far closer to the bucket than South Africa is. They're weaving into the key and taking those high percentage shots in the paint, whereas South Africa sort of bombing it up outside the key and unable to penetrate enough to get in there and get those high percentage shots. So that's the difference at this point. Even though South Africa have actually had more attempts at goal. So Spain with the ball, the start of the second quarter, 21 plays 11, Spain in a commanding position. Of course, we love to get your feedback from wherever you might be watching right around the world. We are on Facebook. You can head to our Facebook page, just search for Paralympic Games, and you can also follow us on Twitter at Paralympic. if you need to get in touch. So another 2 points there for Spain, and off to a good start in the second quarter. Lovely fluid motion there from ZARZUELA BELTRAN. Easy 2 points. Retief has a shot, unsuccessful. Nice defensive board by Garcia Moreno. Dribbles down the centre of the court, tries to find a path. He gets caught up a bit in one of the South African players, and then another one tries to swat the ball away, and he got the ball to Sanchez Lara, who was then fouled by Mbandi. So he's been playing a bit of a role in this game thus far, Mbandi. He's getting subbed off, I think, just because that was his second foul, and we're still quite early on in the match, so we'll just see him spend a little bit of time on the sidelines to get a few more minutes away, not wanting to get into foul trouble. Lovely, lovely shot there by Garcia Moreno. So Parpenfus looks around for the opening, and that was a lovely shot by Nortje, Richard Nortje. Oh, lovely, lovely play there. And Garcia Moreno just, well, it's a bit dangerous when you get in the bottom of the key like that, because you can easily end up waiting there for the more than 3 seconds that's permitted. But he timed it to perfection, rolled in, got the pass. It was a perfect pass too, and that is a big shot. Number 15, Richard Nortje, was well outside the 3-point line, jacked it up and missed, unfortunately. But it would have been a nice boost had it gone in for the South African side. They're trailing by 16 points at this point in the early stages of this match. We're still only partway into the second quarter, but it's already looking as though Spain is going to stamp its authority on this side. Garcia Paprino. Back out the front to Moreno Gomez, who passes to Garcia Moreno, who has a shot. Kissed off the front, then off the backboard, then rolled into the basket. They certainly seem to just know each other very well, this team, the Spanish side. They can just sort of see their anticipation of what their teammate's going to do. It just means the flow of play, it's actually beautiful to watch, because each time they're anticipating, they seem to know exactly where their teammate's going to be, and making the most beautiful passes in. Their passes are spot on at the moment, and I dare say we're just not going to see that many turnovers from them, because their passing is just very accurate, and just the knowing the teammates so well eliminates much of the guesswork as a player that sometimes comes into it. So Patrick Fick, the coach there, just saying, look, just if they shoot outside, they shoot outside. Just limit the penetration. So just what we were saying earlier was that those high percentage shots for Spain, they're just getting into the paint all too much, and therefore getting the closer range shots. So South Africa's tactics now are going to be to try a different defensive structure to keep them outside, start forcing them to shoot outside, taking those lower percentage shots. And then ideally they'll miss. You get the defensive rebound, go up the other end and score, but we'll see how that pans out. So South Africa on the offensive. JELLOWS, lovely, kisses off the backboard, straight in. Very, very nice shot indeed. Spain with the ball. Moreno Gomez takes it left, thinking about attacking on the baseline, but instead kisses it over to Garcia Moreno, who's playing a very, very big role in this match for Spain. He's everywhere. He's there defensively. He's taking rebounds, and now he's showing his force in an offensive sense as well, with 6 points for Spain. Little lob over, looking a little uncertain, the South Africans, and then some confusion. Oh, that's costly. That is costly indeed. So there was some confusion. One of the players had their back turned to the ball. And then it went over halfway. I don't know if they're going to call it a backcourt play here. They probably will. That was quite nasty. So Richard Nortje was there, and he was involved with Garcia Moreno. So it was called a foul in the end, I believe. It wasn't a backcourt play at all. Now that was a lovely piece of play, and look, that is very promising. A little combination there from JELLOWS and Nortje. And that's what they need to start doing, is getting into the key and getting those closer shots in and giving themselves a better chance of scoring rather than always going for the outside shots. Now let's see how they back up with their defence here. So forcing the outside shot, but Garcia Moreno is spot on with his accuracy. So they need to watch him, because if they're going to start forcing him outside, he obviously could also make his shots, and that tactic backfires somewhat. So they need a few things up their sleeves. Richard Nortje passes in. That was a big miss by Stuart. JELLOWS missed the ring entirely, and Spain got the defensive rebound. Looking at their offensive options, not a lot on at the moment. So they roll back out, reset, and we'll try and... So you can see now what the South Africans are doing with a bit of congestion in the key. They certainly listen to their coach and are forcing that shot, and see, that's a good result. That's an excellent result for South Africa, because they've put pressure on, and then the shot clock went, and Spain was forced to take a bit of a low percentage shot out there. However, they got the turnover, and now Spain's back again, and that is too easy. ZARZUELA BELTRAN. So it's one thing to execute it once, but it's one thing to keep them out of the key time after time, and that takes a lot of focus, effort and concentration, and very, very good communication. So they did it once, but then they slipped up, and Spain was back inside the key and taking those high percentage shots again. So 37 plays 17. Spain already with a 20-point advantage over South Africa. Certainly things aren't looking particularly promising. They have managed to execute some excellent periods of play, South Africa, but then it's just the consistency in being able to back up and back up, doing what they're told and then doing what they're told again. That is the key. So here we are, back to South Africa. 13 left on the shot clock, and they're still well outside the three-point line. They're going to need to think about what their options are, how they're going to get in. JELLOWS up, and 2 points. Lovely shot there by JELLOWS. So they need more of that, thank you very much, if they're going to be competitive in this match. But also what they need is to be penetrating the key. So you can see here, South Africa really trying to block up the key, but Garcia Moreno able to score in any case. Papenfuss for South Africa. Nice little lob over, and that was a good-looking pass, but a bit of a swear word there. They realised the execution after such a good pass was very poor. And that will be called 3 seconds, surely. No, they've called it a push. So 2 points down, 1 shot to come. Stuart JELLOWS right in the action there for South Africa. But it took him 3 attempts, and you could hear him cursing in frustration. He had 2 shots and finally got another one, but it also had a whack in the process. So South Africa, another score on the board, but look, the task is becoming rather large. Spain, such a sharp outfit. So the foul is drawn and Spain will have a possession from the baseline. Pazzo dribbles around, passes it off. He's back in play again, misses the shot, and it was a good rebound from the South African side. 3 of them were under there, so that's what we're talking about when we're talking about boxing out. It means blocking the player from getting their offensive board, or defensive board for that matter, but usually on the offense, you're stopping the scorer from getting in. So quite a bit of defensive pressure you could just see in the replay there from Spain. So quite a bit of work to do for the South African side. Patrick Fick, the coach, I mean, his tactics were 100% spot on. The team's managed to execute it somewhat, but a few lapses, perhaps in concentration or just execution. They are trying to keep the Spanish side from that, the key area, trying to keep them outside the paint. Oh, that was a nasty, nasty foul. And you can see that there's not a lot of love lost between teams in wheelchair basketball. It's pretty ferocious and nobody sort of stops to check if you're all right when you crash onto the ground. Similar in able-bodied basketball, there's some players that will help you back up off the ground if you have a fall, others will not. They'll simply walk away, and it's all part of the gamesmanship and the competitive nature of the sport. So, Moraz Dopico misses both of his free throws, but excellent rebounding there, and just missed again. So that was dangerous. They could have scored again straight away, but missed the shot. Oh, South Africa, a bit of sloppy work there. Not enough communication between the players. But in the end, they got a little bit lucky there. Managed to pick up a foul in the process. So, here we go. South Africa are on the offensive. That shot from the baseline really shows you just the congestion through the key at the moment and just how much defensive pressure Spain is managing to apply to the South Africans at this point. So 1:22 left in the second quarter. Then we'll have a decent halftime break. The teams will regroup. But certainly Spain easily has the upper hand at the moment. Pazzo had all the time in the world there, it seemed. And nice work there by the South African side. Oh. It's knocked out of Vlowen's hands. JELLOWS with the ball again. It's been very prominent for the South Africans. A lovely, lovely shot. It was inside the three-point line, but not by much, but another 2 points for South Africa. 41 plays 24. So a slight adjustment in the deficit, but not really enough for South Africa to go into the halftime break feeling confident or competitive. However, good boards by South Africa. They are doing extremely well in the rebounding. Marius Papemphis dribbles down. Can he go all the way? He can't. He's being blocked out by ZARZUELA BELTRAN. Looking at other options. They're going to run into a bit of trouble on the shot clock here shortly. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. 9.7 seconds left in this quarter. So Spain again, can they get a quick score on the board? A couple of seconds left to play. They're going to need to do it right now. No, can't do it. So, a very commanding performance by Spain at the North Greenwich Arena. So the teams will retire for a break at halftime, and there'll be some halftime entertainment, but 41 plays 24. So, look, if South Africa wants to stay in this game, they're going to have to come out with something pretty special after the halftime break. But, look, the tactics have been right. The execution hasn't been quite there. And as I said earlier, Spain just seem to know and read each other so well. So shooting percentage not bad for South Africa. Defensive rebounds quite even. The turnovers for South Africa not so good. But really, Spain hasn't had that many more field attempts at goal. The turnovers 11-4 and points from turnovers 2-12. So 12 points. 12 of Spain's points have been scored from turnovers. They've also got 6 steals as opposed to 1 steal from South Africa. But look, South Africa have been doing pretty well in the rebounding. They're outdoing Spain in the offensive rebounds at least. So it is a very nice venue. This is one of the largest temporary venues ever built, I believe, for a sporting event. Capacity of 20,000. Of course, all the finals will be played here. But we've got plenty of basketball to be played before the finals roll around. So the crowds have been fantastic here already. There's just so many people, and of course, as I mentioned earlier, the ticket sales for these Paralympic Games have been sensational, the best ever. 2.5 million tickets for sale, and as of a couple of days ago, just 100,000 of those were left. But venues such as the cycling, which hosts, the velodrome hosts 6,000 people, you can't get a ticket to the cycling anymore, so you have to watch it here on Paralympic Sport TV. I'll be commentating the cycling tomorrow. But, gee, it was a brilliant day yesterday. 2 world records broken at the track cycling. Unbelievable. And, of course, the road race will be next week. There's an individual road race as well as the time trial on the road. And then there's the track version of the time trial, which we had a few categories yesterday. Plenty of fantastic sports. There is, of course, an evening session of the swimming as well tonight. And the athletics gets underway today as well. So plenty to see and do at Olympic Park. And as I mentioned earlier, it is spectacular and very, very convenient to have all these venues grouped together at the Olympic Park out here at Stratford. On top of all that, if you get a bit sick of walking around, you can relax in the parks. There's plenty of seating around, and there's also a lot of shopping that can be done. So huge shopping centre here. It's kind of mind-boggling, and it's extremely busy as well. But the outdoor areas here are fantastic. There's plenty of green grass to go around and lie on. You can watch the sports on the big televisions. There's lots to eat and drink and enjoy, and plenty of other entertainment as well. And there's a real sort of family atmosphere. A lot of people are bringing their young children out to the Olympic Park. There's a lot of strollers and toddlers out here, and it's really great to see everyone getting into the Paralympic spirit. And certainly I know the athletes have absolutely been loving the crowds here, as in Beijing, where athletes were stunned and kind of gobsmacked really by how supportive the crowds were and how many people were coming out to watch the sports. Well, that's happened in London here as well, and athletes after they're competing say that they've had such a rush from the crowd, the overwhelming noise. And at venues such as the basketball here that you can see in front of us, and also at the velodrome, where so many people are crammed into a relatively small space for thousands of people to be, the noise can be absolutely deafening. And we did see with the Australia-Great Britain match earlier today in the basketball, goodness me, it was so loud. There were so many GB supporters. It was extraordinary. There were some Australians too, it should be said, but there were a lot of GB supporters. Unfortunately, they walked away disappointed. Team GB in the women's basketball, women's wheelchair basketball, doesn't have a win to its name yet. They've been defeated by the Netherlands and also Australia. But they may have better luck tomorrow. A difficult group, though. It also includes Brazil and Canada in that pool. As these athletes make their way back out onto the court. With tournaments like this, as I mentioned earlier, it's so important to manage your body when you've got to back up day after day, and you've noticed that it's just so extraordinarily physical, and you're often being bashed around in your chair, being dumped on the floor, getting back up, pushing yourself up. And you've got to be accurate with your shooting as well. So that's why you're allowed to have 7 players on your bench when it's such a long tournament like this. 5 on the court, 7 on the bench. And you'll notice in the latter stages, particularly in the second half, if there's a comfortable lead, most of the bench players will get some decent minutes on the court, and as they should. Been a few rotations in this match. Spain does seem to have a lot of depth to their side, and such a fluid and attractive brand of basketball they're playing. It's nice to watch when you just see these teams that are so in sync with each other and able to communicate so well. Don't forget, of course, you can follow us on Twitter. @Paralympic is the Twitter handle. And the Facebook site is facebook.com/Paralympic Games. You can tell all your friends to watch us during the games on Paralympic Sport TV at the website paralympic.org. It's where you'll find 7 channels streamed of Paralympic Sport TV. And of course, we're beaming right around the world to various different countries, including Asia and the Middle East and South America and North America. So just to run through the other members of the Group A of the men's wheelchair basketball competition, we've got Spain and Italy, Turkey and the United States. And that's, of course, as well as South Africa and Spain. So 6 teams, and there's another 6 teams in the other side of the draw as well. And so once the preliminary phases are over and done with, then we have the top 4 in each pool that go into a playoff series where it is sudden death. However, there are always playoff basketball matches for, to decide 7th and 8th, 5th and 6th, as well as, of course, the bronze match and the gold match. And who will it be this year? That is the question. Should be a good match tonight, actually. Turkey is playing Australia. Turkey played extremely well against the USA, and their ability will be tested by Australia. So Australia will be looking to grab an early lead in the standings. So that'll be one of the good matches to watch this evening, the basketball. Certainly some of these preliminary round matches can be very interesting indeed, because everyone plays everyone in their own group. It's a decent grouping, this one. It'll be interesting to see how Spain matches up to some of the stronger teams. Already they've had a win over Italy, as I mentioned earlier, but interesting to see. Tomorrow, Spain will play against Australia. That's in the evening at 8:45 in the evening. It'll be interesting to see how they do match up to Australia. And Spain is then playing Turkey on Sunday. That match against Australia and Spain are playing at Basketball Arena. So that's the secondary venue for the basketball at these London 2012 games. It's a smaller venue, but certainly when there's so many matches to get through in the men's and the women's draws, you do need a second venue. So that's what they've done. But this is the larger of the 2 venues, seating capacity of 20,000, and it will host all the finals matches right here at the stadium you can see in front of you.
Alejandro ZARZUELA BELTRAN from Spain hit 12 points, but it was Ismael GARCIA MORENO who stole the show with 7.
So, should be able to bring you up to date with some more of the statistics from this match. We've just had a few little issues bringing you the live information, but I think we should be okay now. Just let me have a click through and I can tell you. Just a quick update as well. The United States are playing Italy at the moment, and 37-30. United States up by 7 points against Italy. That match being played at Basketball Arena, in case you're interested in how that's going. And we'll look at what else is happening around the grounds. Women's sitting volleyball is on, and That will be starting at, well, it started about 7 minutes ago. I can't bring you up to date with how the progression score is going. It looks as though nothing has been updated at this stage. So if we go back to some of the statistics from this match. So Garcia Moreno, who's played such a big part, has already got 16 points to his name. ZARZUELA BELTRAN has shot 12 for Spain. And for South Africa, JELLOWS has 11 points. So doing extremely well on the scoreboard. The Spaniards are sharing it around, and Pazzo has 8 points to his name. So things being shared around, a pretty even spread. The shooting percentages, as we mentioned before, South Africa is sitting on 41% and Spain on 63%. Now that's some field goal percentage. South Africa's had 27 attempts compared to Spain's 30 attempts. So it's not that South Africa isn't getting the opportunities, it's really that South Africa's taking the lower percentage opportunities, taking a number of shots outside. And they've also failed a bit to finish their shots right under the basket as well, which has been disappointing. All right, so the Spaniards are ready to go in the second half of this basketball match. And just very briefly, South Africa really is doing extremely well with the rebounding at the moment. The offensive rebound, 6 plays 2 to Spain. So it's something they'll be looking to capitalise on. And they've also got to keep a lid on their turnovers, 11 turnovers to South Africa compared to just 4 for Spain. And running into a little bit of foul trouble as well. They've got 10 team fouls, whereas Spain only has 6. So just need to keep a monitor on that. But other than that, let's see if South Africa can get a good start. And that is not a good start, an air ball straight off. However, got the rebound and another sloppy shot. And a foul called, so not a very good start at all for South Africa. It was JELLOWS as he tried to go up for the rebound, I believe. That's who had the foul called on. Romero Martin is on your screen there, and the ball was taken down by Costa de Miranda. Pazzo passes off to Costas. Trying to penetrate again, not having much luck, but the shooting is just so accurate. ZARZUELA BELTRAN, shooting is just excellent by the Spaniards, and they just seem so poised and confident when they get the ball and have their attempt. There's no rushing, there's no indecision. That's back court. He didn't get into the front court quick enough and was kind of stuck, kind of straddling the half court line. So 43 plays 24. Spain on the offensive. It's just been a turnover for South Africa. A bit of nifty handwork there by Kyle Lau. And all of a sudden, South Africa in the scoring range, and that was Papenfuss, Marius Papenfuss, scoring for South Africa. So 43-26, Spain in the lead. And again, so South Africa are going to have a bit of a rethink, because obviously this tactic of trying to keeping the Spaniards out of the paint isn't really working, because they're still managing to get a lot of high percentage shots from literally just outside the key. They're just not shutting them out far enough. They need to be pushing them back further, because obviously their shooters are extremely accurate. And even so, even if they're letting them get those shots away, they need to be putting them under pressure. So it's a big task, but it's something that's got to be addressed if the South Africans are going to have any hope of carrying back this deficit. So a steal there from Spain's Gumby. No, rather, my apologies, ZARZUELA BELTRAN, not Gumby at all. Gumby plays for South Africa, of course. Okay, so Stuart JELLOWS might find himself in a little bit of foul trouble. He's got 3 already. Rolls out of the basket, but Spain's got the offensive rebound, so well done to them. Pazzo passes off. And an interception, a nice little steal there by Richard Northe. And so South Africa, what can they make of this? Lau. It's a bit of a poor attempt in the end. He must have been off balance, but JELLOWS then also had a turn as well, and he couldn't score either. So, Spain, what can South Africa do to stop them scoring? You have to put them under more pressure, even if they're going to have those shots just outside the key. They still need more pressure. Technical foul called there? No, or a timeout it was. Hand signals. No, it was a substitute. My apologies, I'm getting my hand signals mixed up here, but it's a substitute. I thought he'd called a technical foul. I thought one of the players might have been back-chatting for a moment there, but not the case. There's nothing unsportsmanlike going on at all. Ooh. So Kyle Lowe went to the basket, and Pazzo stuck his hand up over him, but in the end it was a simple block. He didn't make any contact with his arms, so it was legal to do that. Lob over to Romero Martin, who's unlucky. Just kind of bounced out of the rim, essentially. And now Richard Northe got the ball. He's passed it to Lowe. Lowe's under the basket. Can he make it? He can. 2 points for South Africa. So, 45 plays 28. Starting to look a little more in reach, but things not exactly going Spain's way, although there you have it. ZARZUELA BELTRAN made up for that. A miss and then straight in. Gumby with the ball, passes down the court, and a steal from Spain. ZARZUELA BELTRAN passes off, and it was all a little bit messy in the end. A bit of a fumble from Costas. So some substitutions happening. Lovely shot there. Another 2 points to Costas de Miranda. Bit of nifty defensive work there from Spain, but unable to get the steal. So knocked out of bounds, and there'll be another side ball for South Africa. A little bit of sportsmanship there. Don't see that very often, helping to pull the opposing team up off the floor. That was a beautiful shot from Gumby. He's had a big influence on the game on the part of South Africa, at least. A little bit of flourish there from the Spaniards, but not so much luck. So the ball was quickly rebounded and flicked out to Gumby, who's taken it all the way. Oh, just a little bit too much force when he took that shot, but he'll still should go to the line. He's fouled on the way through. So Gumby successful with his first. Can he make his second? No. Good rebound though, South Africa. Tell you what, it's a little bit frustrating for them. So it was a good rebound by Richard Nortje, but he was fouled when he was in such a good position. It's right near the basket. If he'd gotten that shot in, that would have been a very good result for South Africa. Instead, they have the possession. It's back to Gumby. What can they work with here? Not much, unfortunately. It was kind of thrown into no man's land, into the middle of nowhere. And Spain now with the advantage down the court, and they're going to have possession because it was thrown and then rebounded off the chair of one of the South African players. So Spain's going to have to get a shot away here because the shot clock's about to go. In the end, it was a bit of a rushed attempt. Oh, Gumby's there, though. Gumby's going to have it. No, he's not going to have another shot. He's going to take it out and try and reset the offensive play and try and come out with something a little bit better quality than that. So Nortje, Richard Nortje passes off. It went to Van Niekerk, but Van Niekerk was unable to score. Sort of bounced it off the glass and over the rim. So a possession for Spain. Got nowhere to go at this point, but it's going to have to be careful because you don't want to run down the shot clock too much. Oh, that was a nice little bit of play. Garcia Moreno again starring for Spain, so scoring a lot of their points, well, the bulk of their points, it'd have to be said, but a nice fake and then sort of under the arm of Nortje, and it looks as though Nortje's hurt his elbow. I hope he hasn't. Oh, that looks a little bit painful. See what happened here. Basically, I suspect just smacked his elbow on the ground. Oh, very hard surface, the basketball court. Not nice indeed. So a little bit sloppy there by Garcia Moreno. Just kind of threw it up, but he's in a bit of a hurry under a bit of pressure. So Gumby back. No, it's not Gumby at all. There's Muketsi with the ball there, and Moritz throws the ball in. So Spain's possession, 2:44 on the clock in the third quarter. This preliminary Group A match. Spain just simply too strong for South Africa, and South Africa really failing to make any true inroads into this score difference at the moment. They looked as though they were going to pare it back a bit. It did get down to 17 points at one stage, but it's now back out at 20 points, and it's difficult to see how they're going to be able to rein in that margin. So Garcia Moreno has scored 18 points. ZARZUELA BELTRAN also scored 18, both for Spain, and JELLOWS has scored 11 for South Africa. A little bit of frustration there from the coach, Oscar Trigo Diaz. So one of the stars there on screen for Spain, but let's see how Spain's going to finish off this third quarter. Well, it's a nice little, very nice indeed. It's just whacked into the ref there. That was Moritz Dapico. So Spain starting to rotate through their bench a little here, and it was nice in the end. It's nice looking shots. They'll have one more shot. Chance to make this a 3-point play. And he manages it very nicely. Thank you very much. Gumby to throw in from the baseline. So a missed shot again from South Africa, and Spain just manages to hold on to the defensive rebound. They're going to try and put a bit of speed on down the court here, but South Africa is managing to get back and reset their defence pretty briskly. And missed shot there from Spain, and now South Africa getting the defensive rebound. Skipping up the court. Gumby, lovely little cut in there through the top of the key and scores 2 points. Nice assist there from Muketsi. It's a little lob over there to ZARZUELA BELTRAN, who's now up to 20 points, I believe. Gee, he's playing extremely well. What an influential player on the court there. Charge called, so possession will go back to the Spaniards, and trying to call a substitution, I believe. Yes, just a little bit slow in executing that. So you can see there on the screen, Spain's had 16 assists against South Africa's 10, so it's still pretty good from South Africa, but there is a discrepancy there. So those are the BELTRAN. Lovely. This makes it all look too easy, really. So the deficit now is blown out again to 25 points, and very difficult to see how South Africa is going to come back from this, but also a fair bit of aggression. ZARZUELA BELTRAN putting the pressure on there. So not only is he helping out offensively, he's doing his job defensively as well. Oh, over the head. Lambi Riera, who we haven't seen a lot of this match in terms of the scoring. Lovely little, well, it's kind of almost had his back to the basket in the end, and it was a very crafty little shot there. Snappy pass, and that's a miss from Richard Nortje. Garcia Moreno is happy to claim that foul. He realises that was an illegal move by him, was sort of smacking away at Nortje. Nortje's had another shot, no luck this time. That is the end of the third quarter, so it's a decent lead now for Spain over South Africa, 60 points to 33. Let's see if we get another look at that fantastic piece of play there. Gee, I challenge you to have a go at that. Wheel around, back to the basket, flick it over your head with some defensive players around, and bang, thank you very much, in the basket. It was very, very nice indeed. And ZARZUELA BELTRAN, what a star he's been for the Spaniards as well. In fact, there's been some real standout performances. Costas has played very well. ZARZUELA BELTRAN, Garcia Moreno. For South Africa, Gumby's played a big role. He might only have 7 points, but he's certainly been an integral part of the South African attack and also the defence. And JELLOWS is still on 11 points, so it was a little bit quieter in the third quarter, but still there. And Richard Nortje hasn't managed to convert a lot of points, but he's taken 6 rebounds, and he's also has 4 assists to his name. So a very important contribution from Richard Nortje as well. Kids having a bit of a boogie there while quarter time is on. So defensive rebounds, and South Africa's turnovers, 21 turnovers, and we're only at three-quarter time, and that's compared to Spain's 10 turnovers. So bit of a story to be told there. And Spain off to a brilliant start. Garcia Moreno scoring 2 points straight off the bat there, not even 10 seconds into the fourth quarter, and Spain just straight away. So the possession will be Spain's. So these chairs, very light and very fast. Looks like we've got a flat tire. No, can't quite see what's going on. Just a readjustment of the wheel. These are made of titanium, worth about £3,500, these chairs. And as I said earlier, if you're, a period of significant competition, as in you're playing a lot and training a lot, you can go through one of these chairs in as little as 6 months. So it's important for these players to have funding and support for their sport, because it's can be quite an expensive endeavour. As you can see, it's pretty fast and furious and very rough at times, so you do put these chairs under a fair bit of pressure. Richard Nortje, the big man, passes it straight down the court to Gumby. Nice screen set there. Haven't seen too many of those, but oh, goodness me, that was a huge bang, and that looked very, very uncomfortable. But Garcia's on the ground. He was basically sandwiched between 3 players, not just 2, including one of his own. ZARZUELA BELTRAN was one of them. See him there to the left of the screen, and he had nowhere to go but down, unfortunately. It's a bit of a slow start to this fourth quarter. We've had a few incidents that have held up the clock a little bit. That certainly would be called a foul. Governor on the offensive there and pretty much being held in place by Lambi Riera. And a little bit of a nudge with the chairs there, a little bit of snipiness going on, or perhaps not snipiness, but just a very competitive and feisty exchange there. Richard Nortje lobs it over. Tries to find Gumby, but it's tapped out by the much larger player, Garcia Moreno, who seems to not only have the size advantage, but also the advantage of being able to read the play so well and get himself in just the right position for those intercepts. He's been exceptional, really, at the defensive end. Another lob over to the star of the game, ZARZUELA BELTRAN, but not so this time. He's got one hand to it, but not two, and wasn't able to hold on to it with the one hand. It sort of hit the tips of his fingers and then rolled on out of court. Maurice Dopico went in for the steal there, instead knocking it out of court. So Gumby with the ball. His teammates yelling at him, but can't seem to find any of them. Not effectively anyway. Bandy with the ball. No luck with the shooting there. So it was right on the shot clock. Anyway, it's going to be a turnover now to Spain. Well, that's interesting. A charge called at the halfway line, so well off the ball. I believe it's been called against Lambi Riera. Oh no, perhaps it was against ZARZUELA BELTRAN, the big man. Yes, that's his third foul. Anyway, shouldn't cause him too many troubles. They are in the fourth quarter and they've got a full complement of players on the bench, so if they need to sub him out, they will do so. Seems to be a pretty safe lead at this point, 29 points. Can South Africa penetrate? Can they get a score on the board? Well, Nortje was there. Lovely little shot from him. Need a few more of those if they're going to make any challenge in this final quarter, the fourth and final quarter of this preliminary Group A match on Paralympic Sport TV. Amy Bainbridge with you for this match, and our coverage of the basketball will continue tomorrow. As we move through these preliminary groupings, of course, 12 teams in the men's competition, 10 in the women's, split into two groups. And ZARZUELA BELTRAN, well, I think he's just ticked over 24 points, thank you very much. So he's proving to be an extremely valuable player. But Garcia Moreno, he's sitting on 20 points at the moment. So they're the two players that have scored the bulk of the points for Spain. So it's a short shot by Garcia Moreno. Unfortunate miss there by Mbandi. Spain gets the rebound, take it down to their offensive end. It was a nifty little pass in, but didn't quite hit the target, and there was an arm in the way. One of the South Africans just managed to get a hand to it, tip it out of the way, and they got the steal. Papenfus, neat little shot into the basket there. It looked as though it was going to be going too fast and actually go behind the backboard, but he pulled up just in time, showing a fair bit of poise and control there, and just managed to then plop it in the bucket. So Spain. Lovely. Garcia Moreno. So Garcia Moreno and ZARZUELA BELTRAN could actually be having a duel to see who will top score out of both sides for this match. It has been an impressive shooting display, and really enjoyed watching the Spaniards' offence today. It just seems to flow so well. It's 2 points to Richard NORTE, who's been a bit of a star for South Africa. Been impressed with his game. ZARZUELA BELTRAN looked like he was going to shoot that, but then decided to pull out for whatever reason. There's a foul call, holding the arm. And so you can see now, so Spain is going to have quite a large rotation through their bench, bringing on 3 fresh players. And why wouldn't you? There's just under 5.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and there's no use in expending all your best players when there's such a long tournament ahead. So I think we've almost got a complete change now from their starting 5 due to the rotations they've had in this second half, and give these other players a run. And that's an air ball from Oshiga. Wino Gomez passes in, receives the ball back, dribbles up the centre of the court. Always feels a bit strange when you're relatively fresh and you're coming on the court in the fourth quarter. Get your head into the game, and after watching from the bench for the vast majority of the match. But anyway, see what these players can achieve. Richard NORTE really wants to score. He's had a few attempts, and he's been the backbone of this team, really. So, what can Spain do? Nice little pass to the bottom of the key, but no success at this point, and South Africa manages to come away with a rebound. Oh, that's a bit of a nasty fall backwards. So we're in the fourth quarter. There's 4 minutes and 11 seconds left on the clock. 66 plays 39. Spain having a very comfortable lead and really hasn't looked challenged at all since late in the first quarter in this match. And really, it's going to be very interesting to see how Spain progresses through this tournament and whether they're a medal threat. Certainly have been impressive to watch, and that was all a little bit easy for the number 12 for South Africa, Mbandi. Nice little cut to the basket and had a free run. Whereas DePico was a long bomb but didn't want to sit in, it just kind of rolled out the back of the basket. South Africa again on the offensive. Richard NORTE, who's had such a big role, and that was Mbandi again, so he's really stepping up in this final quarter. He's been involved in a lot of play, not just offensively but defensively as well. Plenty of time there, but wouldn't sit in the ball. It just wants to keep rolling out at the moment. So 2:56 left of this match. Richard Nortje at the line. Bit of conjecture here about the passage of play. Patrick Fick, the coach you can see there. I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to clarify. Players having a discussion as well. Nobody looks too fazed by it all. So 2 shots for Richard Nortje. First one is a success. Deficit 22 points. Right, so they've made the decision to change wheels, I believe. On Mbandi's chair. He wasn't happy with some sort of repair that was going on, and he just had to re-stick the number back onto the rear of his chair, because that also appears to have had come away. So a bit of sticky tape there and good to go. Richard Nortje not successful in his second free throw. It's gone out of court. Who are they going to call that on? So time for a timeout. And look, less than 3 minutes left in this match, and it's fair to say that 66-43, it looks as though Spain is going to be untroubled for the rest of this match, and they can focus on giving their bench players a bit of court time and resting some of their star players, of which there are many star players. I've got to say, it's such depth in this side. Coach Trigo Diaz doesn't look like he's relaxing at all, though. Still wants to get the very best out of his players, even though it's looking like a very, very comfortable victory. So Alejandro ZARZUELA BELTRAN, 24 points, an absolute star of this match, and he'll rest up for now. There's no need to put him back on the court. So that was number 10, Papenfis, Marius Papenfis, scoring for South Africa. So not giving in just yet. They're still attacking the basket, trying their best to perform well in the dying minutes of this match. But really, Spain have just been so dominant. Never really looked troubled at all by the South Africans. Nice little shot there for Spain. Another 2 points on the board. So 68 plays 46. So defensive pressure, just trying to keep the team focused in the last few minutes and make sure they finish on a high note, even though it's a big win. So Richard Nortje got the ball again. He wants to shoot it. He had 2 players on him waving their hands in his face, and he was determined to try and get that score. He followed up, got the rebound, tried to shoot again, couldn't get it in, but was fouled in the process, so he'll go to the line for 2 shots. first attempt successful. So 2 from 2. 1 minute 45 on the clock. Spain in possession. Rolls into the basket. So Moreno Gomez scores both of his free throws. Marcus Retief on your screen there. So Mbandi passes off to Richard Nortje, who's just having such a big role for the South Africans. Oh, he's been whacked in the face, Richard Nortje. Not happy about that. And on the ground is Romero Martin. He's not happy either. So there's a bit of a nasty clash there. It looked like a hand in the face. Yeah, sort of poked his fingers up. It's completely unintentional. So just over a minute left to play in this match, and South Africa trying their best to salvage some more scoring opportunities, but it has really been all Spain, and 22-point deficit. It's sort of got up to 30 points at one stage. They've managed to pare it back ever so slightly, but never really looked like a decent threat for the Spaniards. They've made the most of the star players they've had this afternoon. Crowd just trying to put off the concentration of Richard Nortje, although you'd have to wonder what the wisdom is in that at this point, given that the result really isn't in doubt. Certainly the whole way of the crowd staying involved in the match, I guess. So Spain on the offensive yet again. They've had so much of the ball this quarter, and number 12, Romero Martin, scores 2 points for the Spaniards. 40 seconds left. South Africa unable to score. So, nice little offensive rebound from Mena Perez. Arthur Garcia Pereiro was unable to get the shot in. So 24-point deficit. Can they get a score up, South Africa, before? Oh, lovely way to finish. It doesn't make any difference, but South Africa, in the end, were able to get 2 points on the buzzer, but unfortunately, no difference to the result. Still a decent victory by Spain, and at times South Africa showed some glimmers of brilliance, but they just weren't good enough. Their defence wasn't good enough. They did have some endeavour trying to keep Spain out of the high scoring area, the high percentage scoring area, but Spain's accuracy was really impressive from right around the shooting zone. And in the end, they just had some really reliable performers, and every time they fed them the ball, they seemed to be able to score almost at will. It's a very impressive display. We just see the last scoring shot Right as the buzzer went, you see the red of the scoreboard just as it left his fingertips. So that was a nice little way to end the match for South Africa. And hopefully it'll give them a little bit to celebrate, even though it was a pretty big loss and the tournament's looking as though it's going to be reasonably difficult for them. South Africa now will play against the United States tomorrow, while Spain will play Australia tomorrow night. So 74-50 was the final score.